Right, that is the Jaguar E-Pace for 2019, and in this video we're going to show you what's good and what's new, plus share two very exciting reasons why you should get one.
This is the car that does everything. It's high, it's a Jaguar, and it's a Jaguar. And I'm about to prove at least some of the critics wrong.
We're going to start here in the interior because the first thing you need to know is that there is a huge difference between this one, the R Dynamic, and the cheapest one you can get. Case in point, my friend Jeremy sends me a text message last night which says, "Have fun filming in that plastic E-Pace tomorrow."
This colour is called Barasco Grey. It's the 240 all-wheel drive version and it has a very red interior. It does 139 miles an hour. And even though it doesn't feel like it, 240 horsepower. As far as the all-wheel drive goes, we'll find out if it can do any of that in a moment. But first, let's address my friend's text.
This is not plastic at all. In fact, this interior is delicious. This lovely grab handle inspired by the F-Type. So are these dials here, which you turn to do your temperature, but also if you push it, it brings the heated or cooled seats on, which is nice, very easy. I like easy to understand buttons. This is new, and so is this, which we'll come on to in a moment. If you're going to be using this for family stuff and dad is driving, here is your first problem, because this seat moves backwards to allow people to get out. So that's a nice luxury feature, but it does then cause a bit of a legroom issue here. Adults at the back, not really a very comfortable space. And even for kids, I'm not even sure, this is quite a small window too, so they won't be able to see much out of the window. It might make them feel sick. Not that they pay any attention to what's going on in the outside world, they're on their phones or on their tablets anyway. But there is some good news, and that is that the boot is bigger than the Q3, the BMW X1, and also the Evoque.
The E-Pace also comes with the ability to use an app on your phone that can start and preheat your car on cold mornings. Not many people do that. It also comes with the image of being the best looking SUV that you can get. That is, of course, if you can decide which one to go for.
Confusingly, there are 50 different variations of E-Pace that you can get depending on the gearbox, the model and specification, but you can only choose a 2-litre engine. There's no 3-litre diesel or 3-litre petrol or an electric. That's disappointing. There's nothing wrong with this engine, but it does bring me on to what's not so good. First of all, the steering is a little firmer than I thought it was going to be, and that's because it's supposed to be more of a sporty drive. So if that's what you want, okay, great. It's not as luxurious as I expected in terms of steering, and obviously that's going to cause a little bit more of a manoeuvring problem when you're parking. And it's not really a sporty drive anyway. It's good, but it's not like a Macan or a Stelvio. I am aware of the weight too, and this does weigh the same as the F-Pace. Not sure why that is, maybe you can tell me, but it's supposed to be a smaller car. I thought it'd be lighter and more nimble. It's not bad. Then there's the suspension. I can't really decide whether I like it or not. It's not uncomfortable, it's not firm, it just occasionally does invent bumps in the road that aren't there. What is impressive though is that Jaguar have tuned the fastest one of these to 296 horsepower, which is good. Still a 4-cylinder engine, and of course this one is the all-wheel drive. And even though you'll never do this, it's a very nice feeling knowing that you can. Maybe you just want to drive across your son's football pitch, pick him up, save him walking to the car park, won't it? The other thing is, and this feels like it's going to go over. Oh no, it's not. Very impressive, look at that. The other thing is, this feels like quite a big car, and if you want something big and comprehensive, this might be perfect for you. It's not light to throw around like the T-Roc, which is a bit like a wafer. It's more car, you've got more car around you. Worth mentioning. Impressive bit of off-road in there.
Okay, right, well, we should do some honesty bits now. So this is what some people say. They do complain about the engines, saying that the petrols are a bit too loud under pressure, and the 2-litre diesel can be slower, 0 to 60, than a 1-litre VW Polo. You should also check you're happy with the miles to the gallon you get on the test drive, because some people have been unhappy about what they're getting. That's not to mention how unhappy they've been with the in-control navigation system. We'll leave that there. Then of course there's the lack of visibility you get from the small rear window, And also the cold spots that I got in this one when the heated seats are on.
And here's another thing, when you're crawling around going slowly, maybe looking for a parking space or coming up to a roundabout, occasionally you get this little jolt in the gearbox where it's deciding whether to go into second or first. It doesn't happen every time, but I noticed it yesterday, and it also felt as if the stop-start was cutting in a bit early. But again, see, now I'm going slowly to show you, it's not doing it. It knows it's being filmed. It's not stupid. Oh dear, there seems to be quite a lot of negatives at this point, and by now you might be thinking, well, that's it now, I'm not going to watch anymore. Rubbish, don't want one of those. Hang on though, I haven't told you the two good bits of news. The first is this, the activity key, which I have been wanting to try for a very long time. Best invention since the car. Because what happens is you put the key to the car inside the car and lock it with this. Then when you come back, you just use that to open it, which is absolutely brilliant. If you want to go skiing or you're an active person, take the bike out or whatever. Here's an example of how wrong it can go. That's the key to my 7. Look at the state of that. It doesn't even, it's got a screen on it. The screen doesn't do anything. It tells you the time. Brilliant. That is an ornament in my house because I'm petrified of losing it because they're £1,000. Which would you rather have? I think I'm going to go with this. But there's an even better bit of news, and that is that all Jaguar customers now can have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And there's two ways you can do it. Firstly is roll your Jaguar into the dealership and ask for it to be done, depending on the year. And secondly is to get a Jaguar now. And that is the best bit of news, certainly for me anyway. I would have any Jaguar now because for me, I know it's a small thing, but that just wasn't good enough for me in the past. And now I feel that I can genuinely recommend it. I'm going to give Jaguar a little round of applause now.
Those two features, along with the introduction now of adaptive suspension and a new entry-level engine, are enough to change the minds of some of those harshest critics or buyers earlier. But why buy when you can lease? I found prices on the website below from well under £300 a month, with under £3,000 down. If it were me though, I would pay a little more for the 9-speed auto, some power and some spec. And remember, this is a heavy car. The introduction of this new speed display thing and home screen for the in-control is also good, even though the head-up display won't be the best one you've seen. But it is still every bit a Jaguar to own.
I've become a bit of an expert on the mini SUV segment at the moment because we've just done so many of them. And one thing I would say is that they all have a flaw, including the E-Pace. However, I don't think it's fair that people are saying that this is a bad car because it really isn't. In fact, I prefer that to the F-Pace. The only other car I like is the Macan, the GTS. That was my favourite mini SUV of all, but that was £87,000 and an E-Pace isn't. And even when you compare the E-Pace to the Macan, as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather look at that every day.
Regardless of what I think, it's now time for your bit, which is by far the most entertaining and informative. What have we missed? Have you driven an E-Pace? And would you get one? Jump down and leave a comment because you would be absolutely surprised just how many people read them and find them useful. Finally, to explore the new and fashionable way to get into your next car, you can have a look below at the link for Leasing.com.